A 16-year-old black honor student was dragged out of an airport VIP lounge like a criminal, while his mother was landing on the same tarmac. "You don't belong here. Kid, get out before I have you arrested for trespassing." The lounge supervisor snatched the access card from his hand and snapped it in half, tossing the pieces at his feet like trash. Jordan Matthews stood frozen, heart pounding, face burning with shame as every passenger in the lounge turned to stare at him like he was a thief. The supervisor, a middle-aged white woman named Carols, stood with her hands on her hips, neck craned forward, her voice dripping with the kind of authority that comes from never being questioned. What she didn't know was that Jordan's mother was about to walk through that door. And when she did, Carol's entire career would end in less than 60 seconds. Jordan had been sitting quietly in the Delta Sky Club for 20 minutes. Backpack beside him, headphones on, AP chemistry textbook open in his lap. He wasn't bothering anyone. He had every right to be there. His mom, Vanessa Matthews, Chief Operating Officer of Delta Airlines, had given him a companion VIP access card for situations exactly like this, early morning layovers during college visits. Jordan was 16, a senior at King High School in Detroit, and he was flying back from touring MIT. Full scholarship offer, 4.0 GPA, captain of the debate team. But none of that mattered to Carol. She walked up to his table, arms crossed, eyes already suspicious. "Excuse me," she said loudly. "Can I see your lounge access?" Jordan pulled out his headphones. "Sorry. Your lounge access. Your card. Let me see it." Jordan reached into his wallet and handed her the black Delta Sky Club VIP card. His name was printed clearly on the front, Jordan L. Matthews. Carol barely looked at it. "Where did you get this?" Jordan blinked. "It was issued to me." "By who?" "My mom. She works for Delta." Carol's lip curled. "Uh-huh. And what's her name?" "Vanessa Matthews." Carol tilted her head, her smile condescending. "Right. And I'm supposed to just believe that." Jordan's stomach tightened. He'd been here before. Not in this lounge, but in moments like this. Moments where his presence was treated like suspicion. "You can look it up," Jordan said quietly. "It's a legitimate card. I've worked here for 9 years, sweetie. I know what a real VIP card looks like. And I know when kids are using someone else's. It's mine." Carol leaned in closer. "Did you steal this card? Because if you did, you need to tell me now before this gets worse." Jordan's pulse spiked. "I didn't steal anything." "Then how does a kid get a VIP card?" The way she said kid, it wasn't neutral. It was loaded. Jordan felt his face heat up. "I told you. My mom." "Sure she does." Carol straightened, pulling a radio from her belt. "I'm calling security." "Wait." You had a chance to leave quietly. But this was only the beginning. Within 5 minutes, 2 airport police officers entered the lounge. Both white, both stone-faced, both looking directly at Jordan. "This him?" one of them asked. Carol nodded. "Yes. He's using a stolen VIP lounge card. Refuses to leave." Jordan stood up quickly, hands visible. "I didn't steal anything. This is my card. My name is on it." "Son, just calm down," the officer said. "I am calm. We're going to need you to come with us." "For what? I didn't do anything wrong." The second officer stepped closer, hand resting on his belt. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be." Jordan's throat went tight. He thought about his mom's voice in his head. "If you're ever stopped by police, stay calm. Be respectful. Do what they say. Don't give them a reason." He hated that he had to think that way. Hated that sitting in a lounge doing homework was somehow seen as suspicious. "Fine," Jordan said, voice shaking. "I'll go." "Leave the card," Carol said sharply. Jordan looked at her. "It's my card. It's evidence." One of the officers reached out and took the card from Jordan's hand. The other gestured toward the exit. "Let's go." Jordan grabbed his backpack. As he walked toward the door, every passenger in the lounge watched. Some looked uncomfortable. Others whispered. One older white man shook his head and muttered, "Kids these days." A young black woman in the corner pulled out her phone. She didn't say anything, but she started recording. What she didn't know was who was watching. The officers escorted Jordan out of the lounge, down the corridor, past gates full of travelers. People stared. Jordan kept his head down, hands shaking, humiliation burning through him like acid. They took him to a small airport security office. Sat him down. Started asking questions. What's your full name? Jordan Louis Matthews. Age? 16. Where are your parents? My mom's flying in. She's landing in. He checked his phone. 20 minutes. What's her name? Vanessa Matthews. The officer typed something into his computer. And you're saying she gave you this card? Yes. You know it's a crime to use someone else's airline credentials, right? Jordan's chest tightened. I'm not using someone else's. It's mine. You can call Delta. You can verify it. The officer leaned back. We will. But he didn't pick up the phone. He just sat there, watching Jordan like he was already guilty. Jordan felt tears prick his eyes. He wouldn't cry. He wouldn't. But God, he wanted to. If only they knew who they were messing with. 20 minutes later, Vanessa Matthews stepped off Delta Flight 1847 from Seattle. She was exhausted. 3-day executive summit. Back-to-back strategy meetings. A keynote speech in front of 200 airline industry leaders. All she wanted was to see her son, grab a coffee, and get home. She pulled out her phone as soon as she exited the jetway. Full missed calls. All from Jordan. Her heart skipped. She called him back immediately. It rang twice before a man's voice answered. Hello. Vanessa stopped walking. Who is this? Airport police. Is this Vanessa Matthews? Her stomach dropped. Yes. Where's my son? He's here with us. There's been an incident. What kind of incident? We're holding him for questioning regarding fraudulent use of airline lounge credentials. Vanessa's vision went white hot. You're what? If you could come to the security office near gate A14. I'm on my way. She hung up, pulled her Delta COO badge from her bag, and started walking. Fast. Be honest. What would you have done? Vanessa Matthews didn't run. She didn't need to. Her heels clicked against the terminal floor like a countdown. Every step sharp, precise, furious. She reached the security office in 4 minutes. Pushed the door open, and there he was. Her baby, sitting in a plastic chair, backpack on the floor, head down, shoulders tight. The same boy who'd called her 2 nights ago, voice bright with excitement, telling her about the MIT engineering lab and the professors who said he'd be a perfect fit. Now he looked small, scared, humiliated. Vanessa's eyes moved to the 2 officers standing nearby, then to the woman standing in the corner, Carol from the lounge, arms still crossed, looking smug. Jordan, Vanessa said softly. He looked up. Relief flooded his face. Mom. She crossed the room and pulled him into a hug. He held on tight. Are you okay? She whispered. He nodded against her shoulder, but she felt him trembling. Vanessa pulled back, cupped his face, checked his eyes. Then she turned to the officers. Her voice was calm. Too calm. Someone want to tell me why my 16-year-old son is being held like a criminal. One of the officers cleared his throat. We received a report that he was using a stolen VIP lounge card. Stolen? Yes. Vanessa's eyes cut to Carol. Carol lifted her chin. The card didn't seem legitimate. He couldn't provide proof of. His name is printed on the front of the card. Vanessa said, voice sharp as glass. What more proof do you need? Carol's smile faltered. Well, we have policies. What's your name? Carol Rintz. I'm the Sky Club supervisor. How long have you worked for Delta, Carol? 9 years. Vanessa nodded slowly. Then she reached into her bag, pulled out her badge, and held it up. Vanessa Matthews, Chief Operating Officer, Delta Airlines. The room went silent. Carol's face drained of color. The officers exchanged a glance. Vanessa's voice was ice. You want to tell me again why my son, who has a valid, authorized VIP companion card issued directly under my executive family privileges, was accused of theft, removed from a lounge, and detained by police? Carol opened her mouth. Nothing came out. I'm waiting, Vanessa said. But here's the part that changed everything. The young black woman who'd been recording in the lounge walked into the security office. Her name was Simone Bell, and she was a flight attendant. Not just any flight attendant. She was a 10-year Delta veteran and a union rep. And she'd seen everything. "Excuse me," Simone said. "Ms. Matthews." Vanessa turned. Simone held up her phone. "I recorded the entire thing. From the moment Carol approached your son to the moment the officers escorted him out." Vanessa's eyes locked on the phone. "Can I see it?" Simone nodded and handed it over. Vanessa pressed play. The video showed everything. Carol's aggressive tone. Jordan's politeness. The way Carol dismissed his explanation without even checking the system. The way she called him kid and sweetie like he was beneath her. The way she accused him of stealing without any evidence. And then, the moment that made Vanessa's blood boil. Right before the officers arrived, Carol leaned over to another lounge employee and said, loud enough for the camera to pick up, "These kids think they can just sneak in here. Probably got the card off eBay or something." Vanessa's jaw clenched. She looked up at Carol. "You assumed my son was a thief. Why, exactly?" Carol stammered. I was just doing my job." "Answer the question." "He looked. He seemed." "Say it." Carol's mouth opened and closed. Vanessa took a step closer. "You saw a young black boy sitting quietly, doing his homework, and your first thought was that he didn't belong, that he couldn't belong, that the only possible explanation was theft. That's exactly what happened. And now it's on video." Vanessa turned to the officers. "Did either of you verify his card before you removed him from the lounge?" The taller officer shifted. "We were told it was fraudulent." "Did you verify it?" Silence. "That's what I thought." Vanessa looked at Simone. "Can you send me that video?" "Already done," Simone said. "Sent it to your work email and copied Delta's HR and legal departments." Vanessa's eyes widened slightly. "You know my work email?" Simone smiled. "You spoke at our union conference last year. You said if we ever witness discrimination, we should document it and send it straight to the top." "So I did." Vanessa felt something crack open in her chest. Pride, gratitude, fury. She looked back at Carol. "You're done." Carol's eyes went wide. "Ms. Matthews, please. You racially profiled my son. You humiliated him. You had him removed by police without cause. And you did it with confidence because you thought there would be no consequences." Vanessa's voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. "You're terminated. Effective immediately." Carol's face went white. "You can't." "I absolutely can. And I am." Vanessa turned to the officers. "As for you two, you'll be hearing from our legal team about your failure to follow proper verification protocols. Jordan will not be filing charges, but Delta will be filing a formal complaint with airport security about this incident." The officers said nothing. Vanessa took Jordan's hand. "Come on, baby. We're going home." And just when things seemed calm, the real reckoning began. Vanessa didn't go home. She went straight to Delta's executive offices in the airport. Jordan sat beside her, still quiet, still processing. She made 4 calls in 10 minutes. "I need Carol Rince's termination paperwork processed today." "Yes, today. I'll send you the video evidence." "Racial profiling, abuse of authority, violation of customer service protocols. Non-negotiable." "Second, VP of Airport Operations. I want a full review of Sky Club staff training procedures. If one supervisor thinks it's acceptable to racially profile passengers, we have a systemic problem. I want a report on my desk by Monday." Third, Chief Diversity Officer. "We need an emergency meeting. This isn't just about one employee. It's about culture. If my own son isn't safe in our lounges, how many other black passengers have we failed?" Fourth, Delta's CEO. "Sir, we have a situation. I'm sending you a video. We need to get ahead of this before it goes public." By the time she hung up, Jordan was staring at her. "Mom," he said quietly, "are you okay?" She looked at him. This brilliant, kind, gentle boy who'd just been treated like a criminal for existing in a space he had every right to occupy. "No," she said honestly. "I'm not okay. But I will be. And so will you." He nodded. She pulled him close. "I'm so sorry that happened to you. It's not your fault. I know. But I'm still sorry. You deserved better." Jordan's voice cracked. "I was so scared, Mom." Vanessa closed her eyes, held him tighter. I know, baby. I know. If only Carol knew what was coming next. Simone didn't just send the video to Vanessa. She posted it. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, with a caption. This is Jordan Matthews, 17 years old, 4.0 GPA, full scholarship to MIT. He was removed from at Delta Lounge and detained by police because a supervisor assumed he didn't belong. His mother is Delta's COO. This is what racial profiling looks like. Do better. #flying while black. Within 6 hours, the video had 2 million views. Within 12 hours, it was on the news. CNN, MSNBC, The Root, Essence, Bet. Reporters camped outside Delta headquarters. Hashtags trended. #justice for Jordan, #Delta accountability, #flying while black. Passengers started sharing their own stories. A black doctor removed from first class. A black mother questioned about her screaming child. A black businessman accused of sneaking into the lounge. The stories piled up. Delta's PR team went into crisis mode. But Vanessa was already 3 steps ahead. Would you have stayed quiet in her position? 48 hours after the incident, Delta Airlines released a statement. Delta Airlines is committed to providing a safe, welcoming, and respectful experience for all passengers. We failed to meet that standard when 16-year-old Jordan Matthews was wrongfully removed from one of our Sky Club lounges. After a thorough investigation, we have terminated the employee responsible and are conducting a comprehensive review of our training and accountability protocols. We apologize to Jordan and his family and are committed to doing better. But Vanessa wasn't satisfied with the statement. She demanded more, and she got it. Within 2 weeks, Delta announced the Matthews Accountability Initiative, a sweeping set of reforms named in Jordan's honor. 1. Mandatory anti-bias training. All customer-facing employees, flight attendants, gate agents, lounge staff, required to complete quarterly anti-bias and de-escalation training. 2. Independent Complaint Review Board. A third-party board to review all discrimination complaints, with findings published quarterly. 3. Passenger Bill of Rights expansion. New protections for passengers subjected to profiling, including immediate escalation protocols and financial compensation. 4. Youth traveler protections. Special guidelines to protect minor passengers from harassment and profiling, with mandatory manager approval before any youth removal. 5. Body camera requirement. All airport security personnel interacting with airline passengers required to wear body cameras, with footage available upon request. The announcement made headlines. Vanessa was interviewed on Good Morning America. The host asked, "Ms. Matthews, some people are saying you only got these changes because of your position. What do you say to that?" Vanessa didn't hesitate. "They are right. I did use my position. Because that's what power is for, not to protect yourself, but to protect the people who don't have it. My son had me. But how many other black kids have been humiliated, traumatized, and profiled with no one to defend them? This isn't just about Jordan. It's about every black child who's been told they don't belong." The audience stood and applauded. The clip went viral. A week later, Jordan gave his first interview. Not to a major network. To his high school newspaper. The student journalist asked, "How are you doing now?" Jordan thought for a moment. "Honestly, I'm still processing. Part of me is angry. Part of me is sad. But part of me is hopeful." Why hopeful? Because my mom didn't just fight for me. She fought for everyone. And that matters. He paused. "I don't want to be known as the kid who got kicked out of the lounge. I want to be known as the kid who helped change things, even if it happened in the worst way possible." The article was reprinted in the New York Times. Jordan became a symbol, not of victimhood, of resilience. 3 weeks after the incident, Delta's internal investigation uncovered something disturbing. Carol Rintz had a history, a pattern. Over the past 9 years, she filed 47 security concern reports. 39 of them involved passengers of color. 12 specifically involved black teenagers or young adults. Not one had resulted in actual criminal activity, but all of them had resulted in humiliation, removal, or police involvement. Delta's legal team found complaints buried in old files. Complaints that had been dismissed. Complaints that should have triggered reviews but didn't. Because Carol was good at her job. Because she followed protocol. Because no one had ever held her accountable. Until now, when the findings were leaked to the press, the backlash was immediate. Delta ignored years of racial profiling by supervisor who targeted black teen. Washington Post. How many Jordans were there before Jordan? The Root. Delta's CEO issued a second apology. This one included accountability. We failed. Not just in this incident, but in the years leading up to it. We ignored warning signs. We dismissed complaints. We allowed a culture of profiling to persist. That ends now. He announced the resignation of 2 HR executives and the head of Sky Club operations. And he announced a $5 million investment in racial equity training and passenger advocacy programs. But here's the part that changed everything. 1 month after the incident, Vanessa received a letter. It was from one of the police officers who detained Jordan, Officer Marcus Webb. It read, "Ms. Matthews, I owe you and your son an apology. When I responded to that call, I didn't ask enough questions. I didn't verify the facts. I saw a black teenager and a white supervisor, and I made assumptions about who was telling the truth. That was wrong. I've been a police officer for 12 years, and I thought I was fair. But watching that video, seeing how your son was treated, and seeing my role in it, forced me to confront my own biases. I've enrolled in implicit bias training. I've requested a transfer to community outreach, and I've started speaking to other officers about what happened, because I don't want to make that mistake again. Your son didn't deserve what happened to him, and I'm sorry I was part of it. I hope he's doing well. He seems like an incredible young man. Respectfully, Officer Marcus Webb." Vanessa read the letter 3 times. Then she showed it to Jordan. "What do you think?" she asked. Jordan was quiet for a long time. "I think people can change, if they want to." Vanessa nodded. "Do you want to respond?" Jordan thought about it. Then he said, "Yeah, I do." Jordan's response. Officer Webb, "Thank you for your letter. I'm not going to lie. What happened to me was one of the worst days of my life. I felt humiliated, scared, and powerless. But I also learned something important, that silence doesn't protect us. Speaking up does. I appreciate your apology. I appreciate that you're trying to do better, and I hope other officers learn from your example. I don't know if we'll ever meet in person, but if we do, I hope it's under better circumstances. Respectfully, Jordan Matthews." The exchange was later shared, with their permission, in a training video used by police departments across the country. It became a model for accountability and reconciliation. Jordan started at MIT in the fall. He majored in aerospace engineering. On move-in day, Vanessa helped him unpack his dorm room. As they worked, Jordan said, "Mom, can I ask you something?" "Always." "Do you think what happened to me, do you think it meant something?" Vanessa stopped folding clothes, sat down on his bed. "I think it meant everything," she said. "Not because it happened, but because of what you did with it." "I didn't do anything. You did." "No, baby. You stayed calm. You stayed respectful. You didn't let them break you. And then you used your voice to help others. That's power." Jordan nodded slowly. "I just don't want to be defined by it. You know." "You won't be," Vanessa said. "You're going to be defined by what you build, what you create, who you become." She smiled, "And I can't wait to see it." That night, Vanessa sat in her hotel room and wrote in her journal, something she did every night after major life events. She wrote, "They tried to humiliate my son, to make him feel small, to tell him he didn't belong. But he does belong. In every room, every lounge, every space he chooses to enter. And if the world tries to tell him otherwise, I'll make sure the world answers to me. Not because I'm his mother, though I am, but because dignity is non-negotiable, and we will never stop fighting for it." She closed the journal and whispered a prayer her own mother had taught her. "Lord, give me the strength to protect my children, the wisdom to teach them, and the courage to change the world they inherit." 2 years later, Jordan was invited to speak at Delta's annual Diversity Summit. He stood on the stage where his mother had spoken years before, and he told his story, not as a victim, as a changemaker. "What happened to me was wrong," he said, "but it wasn't unique. It happens every day to black kids, black families, black travelers who are told, implicitly or explicitly, that they don't belong. He paused. But here's what I learned. Our presence is resistance. Our success is revolution. And our voices, when we use them, can move mountains. The room stewed and applauded. Vanessa watched from the front row, tears streaming down her face. Her baby, her brilliant, brave, beautiful boy. He'd taken the worst moment of his life and turned it into a movement. And she had never been more proud. 3 years after the incident, Jordan came home from MIT for Thanksgiving. He and Vanessa had a layover in Atlanta. As they walked through the terminal, Jordan stopped, stayed at the entrance to the Delta Sky Club. Vanessa noticed. "You okay?" she asked. Jordan took a breath. "Yeah, actually, can we go in?" Vanessa smiled. "Of course." They walked in together. The lounge had changed. New staff, new training, new culture. A young black woman at the desk greeted them with a warm smile. "Welcome to the Sky Club. Can I see your passes?" Jordan handed her his card. She scanned it, smiled. "Thank you, Mr. Matthews. Enjoy your visit. No questions, no suspicion, no assumptions, just respect." Jordan and Vanessa found a quiet corner. Sat down. Jordan pulled out his laptop, still studying, still striving. Vanessa watched him for a moment. Then she said, "I'm proud of you." Jordan looked up. "For what?" "For coming back, hey. For not letting them take this space from you." Jordan smiled. "Someone once told me that our presence is resistance." Vanessa laughed. "Smart person." "Yeah," Jordan said. "She's pretty great." They sat together in the lounge. Mother and son. Victorious. Unbroken. Free. Jordan's story isn't just about one teen in one lounge. It's about every black child who's been told they don't belong. Every black mother who's had to fight for their baby's dignity. Every black family who's been profiled, dismissed, and dehumanized. But it's also about resistance. About using your voice, your platform, your power, whatever you have, to fight back. Vanessa didn't just protect her son. She changed an entire system. Because that's what we do. We don't just survive injustice. We transform it. We turn pain into policy, humiliation into reform, tears into triumph. And we make sure that the next generation doesn't have to fight the same battles we did. That's the legacy. That's the lesson. And that's why we never stop fighting. If this story moved you, drop a comment and tell me. Have you or someone you love ever been profiled or kicked out of space you had every right to be in? How did you handle it? And if you believe that our children deserve better, that dignity is non-negotiable and accountability is essential, smash that like button and subscribe. Because we're just getting started. Justice isn't just a moment. It's a movement. And every single one of us has a role to play.